I was recording day two research, but honestly, it's pretty boring and not really worth a watch of any kind because it's all I was doing was sorting the stories from the other day into groups based off how I want them to be. And I've got my book stack, which I'm going through, but I mean, I'm literally reading books at that point. I'm skimming through to see if any of them work well for what I've got going on with each urban legend. So, like the basic Hookman story, Buried Alive stories, uh, just your standard issue creepies to see what all I've got, just so you guys kind of know what books I roll with. Um, these aren't all of them that I'm going to show you. I do have others, but these are kind of my main stacks. So when I'm going on the local level, I've got my Haunted Wilmington book that I've had for forever. The publisher's actually different on this now, because they no longer exist because there's just a local one. I've got this Pirate's Ghost in Coastal Lore book, which is just like a fun little, like what you would see probably in a beach rental. Spooky South, which is fun. I love the artwork in this. The person who does this, or the publisher who does this, they've got a bunch of different ones. I actually want to get the Spooky North Carolina one. But yeah, we've got that. I got Haunted North Carolina, which I go to a lot. Haunted Heartland. I don't have a pretty cover on this one. Anywhere. Sorry, I thought somebody was knocking on my door for a second. But this is nice just because it goes to a lot of areas and places that I wouldn't necessarily look. All of those are like stories. Not so much the cut and dry, like how I do it. But it's like, Susie said this. And then I've got my Haunted America book from Armchair Reader. This one is just kind of like little snippets. This one actually, and the which other one? This one, they're actually both kind of similar. They're not really stories, they're snippets. I'm so upset right now. When I was working on my office this weekend, I accidentally bent this book. That's why I like hardcovers. You can't easily bend a hardcover. But this is for Haunted North Carolina. Some of them are stories, some of them are just tidbits of information. This one seems to be more, Haunted America is more tidbits. I talked about this one before. My Myths and Legends. This one I don't use too frequently for the stuff here because it's more like around the world. But it is nice that there are Native American ones in here with some of the more well-known tribes. Some of the stories, like I was flipping through earlier, one of the stories reminded me of one that I read or skimmed over recently out of, I think it was, I have Fairy Tales from Around the World. Just a very similar story. A lot of notes that were the same. This one is one of my favorites. Beneath the Moon. It is just one page little tellings of different stories from around the world, fairy tales, myths, folklore, all that kind of stuff. It's great because it just gives you a brief little summary, but the artwork's beautiful. If you're into tarot, then they also have a matching deck, which is stunning, and I highly recommend it because it's just beautiful. And then last but not least, I was complaining on Twitter that I didn't have a modern American urban legends book, and I actually have this Scary Stories Treasury. It's breakdown or a combination of 3 books of the scary stories to tell in the dark. So what is it? Are they all just scary stories to tell? Yeah, that's all. It's just 3 scary stories to tell in the dark one. I didn't know if there was a breakdown in some other way. Sorry, I have a slight tickle in my throat today. / possibly cold. I don't know. It's making my head fuzzy and making me ramble. But in this one, there's the PG Hookman, and I say that because there's like the story where they escape, and then the story where the boyfriend dies. In this one, it's just they escape, and I'm sure there's others. I have to flip through and see, because I don't know. It's been a while since I've read any of these. But that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm trying to upload some stuff, and it's just taking up all of my bandwidth on my computer, which is why I'm not doing any computer work right now. But that's where we are. It's day 2 of my research. It's just going to be book combing until my uploads are done, and then when they're done, I'm going to be able to sit down and hit the computer. But I just wanted to drop a quick little update of I was recording, but it was just so fucking boring. You guys really do not want to see me just sit here and flip through a book. Trust me, I'll put you to sleep fast. But next time I come back, I'll hopefully have more to share of the process of how I do everything, because I'll be back in front of the computer trying to find the actual more detailed stories for each of these. Just so you guys have a heads up, I did break everything down for how I want to do the post, because we're doing like the overarching urban legend followed by here's some stories you can check out. So I'm probably going to rename, I just have Hookman for right now, but I'm probably going to rename that one. Got the Woman in White / Weeping Woman, Ghost Hills, where ghosts push your car up the hill, Strangers with Candy Who Kidnap Kids, Buried Alive Stories, when you've been presumed dead and you're knocked into a coma, Bigfoot Sasquatch, because he's everywhere, you're like half people, half monster hybrids, mystery spots like the Oklahoma Bermuda Triangle, kids that haunt schools and buildings that used to be schools, your haunted highways, byways, roadways. Don't pick up ghosts on the side of the road. Another one that I have that I'm not quite sure how I'm going to name it. I've got Haunted Cemetery / Spooky Rituals. It's the 100-step cemetery. That was the one that, like, you walk up 100 steps. You get shown, I think, a vision of your death. And when you come back down, you count the steps. And if you have the same number of steps, it's either true or false. I don't know. I don't remember. But that is one of them, and I have that again, Haunted Cemetery Spooky Rituals. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. Depends on what other stories that come up to go underneath that anchor. And then I've got Native American legends, where things are still kind of spooky, because there was one where Sacrifice Cliff, I think it was called, where the 2 lovers like jumped off a cliff with their horses because their tribe was all dead from smallpox or something. But that one's not really like a recurring one, and so I do have a couple others, like the Water Babies one, where it's kind of like the Weeping Woman, but with it being the babies or the ghost. So I've got 12 like little subtopics, and then from each there I'm gonna put down, the little extra stories. And I've got some really cool, for some of them, some really cool YouTube rabbit holes for y'all to go down, / just other things you can watch on some of them. So that'll be fun. But that's what's coming, and I will talk to you guys all later, hopefully feeling a little bit better. Talk soon. So I'm trying to record day 3 of my research process, but where I moved everything around at my desk, it's just not working. So it is what it is. I gotta move more shit around so I can make this work. And so that way you guys have good sound and good audio, or good visual. It was all bouncy every time I would type anything. But I'll get it figured out soon. If not, then this time's research ends with what I've got. But I am working on it. So I just wanted to say that. It's just driving me crazy right now.